Rochester was ranked as the second best place for first-time home buyers to purchase a property with a median cost of living around $125,000. Which got me thinking, what is going on with the Rochester real estate market in 2025? What have we been seeing for 2024? And ultimately, is it even the right time to buy a house, or should you wait till like the next decade? Let's get into it. Roll the intro.
Won't you let the light shine through for you,
What's up, guys? Gagan here, your favorite real estate agent. And here is the thing. Buyers, I'm sorry. And I mean that with love, because all of the buyers that we're actively working with that come from YouTube that are thinking about living or moving to Rochester, New York, it has been a difficult time to say the least. The homes here are still going for above $30,000 to $40,000 in price point, and the selling, well, it's happening in a period of less than 5 to 6 days. Our median days on the market right now hovers at 7 days. That is crazy. And especially it just being January, it's kind of bad when you think about all the things that are happening logistically. Now, what we are seeing more than anything else is a migration pattern towards the suburban areas. And we'll talk about that in just a little bit and why I think that's specifically happening. But for the most part, homes in Rochester are getting eaten up left and right, making it so that buyers are having so much more difficulty to actually find what specifically they are looking for. And the other caveat to this, is with price points and with agents listing the homes at such a low price point and low barrier to entry, it makes people think they have a chance. In reality, that's not the real market value. Yeah, I know, it kind of stinks. But let me talk to you a little bit about the data and ultimately what's backing this up, and I'll give you some personal anecdote and what we're doing to really make sure our clients are winning in any godforsaken market. Right now, the median price point in Rochester hovers around $215,000. Now, I know the article said 125. That was just the inner city. This number is counting and surrounding the other suburban areas inside or in proximity to Rochester as well. With a median price point that has gone up compared to last year, what we're seeing is obviously an appreciation that's happening. And with Micron building in Syracuse, and with so many other projects that are happening closer to Intel, we're definitely seeing a lot of activities all around. Now, especially when you are looking for a home, the biggest thing you have to do is make sure you get pre-approved or understand what the bank's perspective on your mortgage amount looks like. We're actually working with a client of ours, Jess. She moved here from St. Paul, Minnesota. I know, two very, very cold locations. And the thing was this, she loved a house, but unfortunately she couldn't buy it. Not because she couldn't afford it, but because there was no pre-approval letter. And in the 2 days that it took to actually get that, Jess lost out. So obviously make sure, right, that you've got all of these things taken care of, because a pre-approval letter isn't just necessarily an amount that the bank is showing you, it's also the confidence that the seller has to know that you can actually do what you say you can do. You know, the other caveat to this is the actual homes, there's not that many on the open market. What we're seeing from a numbers perspective is this. There's less homes on the open market right now compared to last year alone. And the homes that are still here, well, they're getting these little shiny things done to them to make them even more appealing and more extravagant. Meaning for you, you're gonna have more competition, a better quality of home to compete for, and ultimately a lot of people that are still hungry. And here's why I think this is the case. I think it's as simple as this. The election is over. You're like, Gagan, what are you talking about? Let me explain. I think because of the election and because of the time in which we didn't know where the directions were going, we weren't sure where the country was headed, that created a standstill. And we did see the market kind of churning and relaxing a little bit here and there. But after Donald Trump won and after the official inauguration, what we're seeing is a migration that has not halted. We're seeing more and more people actively traverse to these states to make these places their resting ground. Now, what's funny about this as a whole is New York City is losing residents left and right, but Rochester, Syracuse, and Buffalo, well, they're picking them up. So what I will say is this for the most part. A lot of our buyers are still able to get properties. It's just that we're looking at different criteria and different metrics that are associated with the properties. Meaning for our buyers, we're actually looking at homes that have been sitting on the market at least 7 to 10 days. We're looking around $30,000 to $40,000 below their pre-approval amount, and even some properties that need a little bit of TCL or touch-up love. I don't know if I used that correctly. I hope so. But it's also our job as agents to actively find you transactions that are off market or deals that aren't currently on the open market but potentially could be sold. You see, real estate is a game of contracts and power players. The buyer's agreement, the seller's agreement, and the purchase agreement. And power players are people that can find other avenues and connect. There's only 4 groups of sellers. People we know that want to sell. People we know that don't want to sell. People we don't know that don't want to sell, and people we don't know that do want to sell. And our job is simply this: to connect you with those people and ultimately make this process as seamless as possible. And if you are living in Rochester and you're thinking about actually selling, now is the time. Now is the time. Because what we're gonna see is in the springtime more and more of inventory. And if you're thinking about buying, well, in the springtime there should be more inventory, but there's also gonna be more people actively looking. The best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. The best time to buy a house, 20 years ago. Same thing, kind of thing, right? But what we have to understand is, from a universal standpoint, right now the market is just so crazy that it's difficult and definitely a lot more rigorous than it was in 2021 and 2022. You see, our team back then was able to get a deal and go boom, it's over. But unfortunately now that's just not the case. And ultimately, we don't know when this is going to stop. You see, I was having dinner with a friend of mine a few weeks back, and he asked me, he's like, "Again, where do you see the real estate market heading?" And that's a great question, because in my personal opinion, what we're going to see is more of an appreciation. We are currently in a position right now in the United States economy called stagflation, where interest rates are high and unemployment is also high with it. The only way to combat stagflation, and if I'm wrong, please tell me in the comment sections, the only way to combat stagflation is by going through a monetary recession, meaning that it's not going to get better. We're going to have to struggle for a little bit longer to actually see the light at the end of the tunnel. And if that doesn't happen, well, inflation is going to keep rising. We really haven't combated it. And for young people like myself, it's going to be more and more difficult to actively purchase properties. You see, Gen Zs and millennials and first-time homebuyers alike were the lowest buying pool in 2024 ever. Whoa. So with that being said, when you are thinking about buying a house, whether you're looking to relocate to Rochester, whether you're looking to just move up in Rochester, or find something in the suburban areas for your family, remember, there's going to be challenges and there's going to be struggles. And I'm not the kind of realtor to tell you that everything is going to be perfect, because it's probably not. But I am the realtor that's going to work the best to fight for you, to ultimately make sure that you can get that perfect property and you can make Rochester home. Now, how we're going to do this? Well, we got multiple different approaches. First and foremost, our job is to find everything on the open market. Second is to find everything that could potentially be on the open market. Third is to connect with our referral partners to see what can happen. Combining that, we're going to talk to our investors and see what they specifically have that they're willing to potentially sell. We're going to run ads and syndication for you to ultimately make sure that we find everyone that's available, and ultimately creating content poised and specifically tailored towards targeting individuals that are looking to potentially sell. There's so much more that goes into it, but for the most part, I just wanted to make sure that you know this. It's not impossible. The market is heading towards a direction in which we're going to see more and more people actively get into it, but also we're going to see an appreciation like none other. If you're looking to purchase investment properties, whether that be a triplex, quadplex, whatever it looks like, it could be a good opportunity. We have a lot of people that reach out to us from California, from Seattle, from Washington, D.C., looking to invest in investment properties here in Rochester. So with that being said, take the information as you want it, make sure to do your own research, and ultimately, do not eat yellow snow.